Hello, everyone. Welcome to Be Here. My name is Edwin Rogers, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down and talking with Chris from Mettle. He is the founding partner of Mettle. So say hi.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Edwin.
How you doing?
Okay. I'm doing well.
So today's show is going to be really interesting. We're going to be talking about plugins for both After Effects and Adobe Premiere. And these amazing plugins can do things for both AR and 360 video content creators. I have been using these kinds of plugins for years. So let me give you a little taste of what they look like and what things they can do. All right, now that's an amazing effect. I want to know how that works and how you do that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about a project that my friend is working on. And I will talk a little bit more about this at the end of the show. But it is called Frontline Fridays, and you could check it out at frontlinefridays.live. And this is gonna be happening starting today. I'm really excited about this event. And here is a little information about it.
Hear he! Hear he! Do-do-do-do! Hey y'all, Mad Russian here, and I just wanted to tell you about my latest project called Frontline Fridays.
Ooh, what's Frontline Fridays?
Frontline Fridays is your Friday night carnival pump. It's that simple, your Friday night carnival pump.
But wait, there's more.
We're also pumping for a great cause. Frontline Fridays will be accepting donations to source food from local Caribbean restaurants for our courageous frontline workers.
So what you really saying, Russian?
I'm saying you're supporting local Caribbean businesses, you're supporting your frontline workers, and all of that is happening while you're fetting in your house. So remember, we're kicking it off this Friday, May 1st at 6 p.m. on my Instagram, powered by Firebrand Entertainment and Feckless. Bang, bang.
I almost forgot. Go check out our website, frontlinefridays.live. All the information is there. If you have any questions, go, 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 go.
That's a great initiative.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. So my friend, he has this list called Feckless, and if you don't know what a Fet is, it's a dance party that happens usually during Carnival. Obviously, there's not going to be a lot of Carnival happening right now, and it's really important for us to stay at home. So instead, we're going to party at home and have an amazing DJ. But then donations go to the Caribbean restaurants that are struggling right now. And then what they do is they deliver food to frontline workers at hospitals, especially in the night shifts, that so that they don't have to pay for it. So it's just an all-around good event, and I'm super excited about it. So yeah, I just want to start sharing some moments of good that are happening right now, because I think positivity is very, very important.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we can start talking a little bit of tech with that. Sure. And I'm going to start with this. So first, make sure I got stuff.
Mantra VR is a comprehensive set of stylization effects designed to take your cinematic 360 VR production to the next level. The effects are built to work on spherical footage in After Effects and Premiere Pro, and they were created by the same developers at Mettle who created the Skybox 360 VR plugin. Mantra 2.0 introduces easy-to-use AR content creation features, as well as Mettle's 3DNA 3D engine that enables advanced volumetric workflows. Mantra 2.0 allows Adobe customers to step right into AR using the tools they already know, After Effects and Premiere Pro. In this overview, we're going to look at the updated Mantra graphics effect, which allows us to extrude 2D graphics into 3D shapes, logos, and text. Then we'll look at the new Mantra OBJX effect, which allows us to import popular 3D formats like OBJ and FBX, modify them, and then export them to AR-supported formats. Finally, we'll look at the new Mantra Spherify effect, which allows us to create 3D spheres with stills or footage, and then export those as portals for use in AR. Don't forget that you guys can always download a trial version of Mantra 2.0 from Mettl's website.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Where do I start? Where do I begin? First of all, AR using After Effects? Excuse me? Did I hear that right? Was I listening correctly?
Yes, sir.
My ears accurate?
Yes, sir. And Premiere Pro, for that matter.
Both.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, how does this work? How does this work?
Sure. So on the AR front, what we do is we actually have a full 3D engine that we call 3DNA. We don't really talk about it, but that engine has made its way into all our products, including Mantra, which you showed just before, including Freeform Pro, and including Flux, which is a whole other thing that we haven't seen yet, right? But so if you've got a 3D environment, think of it much like if you're running Maya or 3D Max or any 3D application. That means that you've got geometry. And what AR needs is geometry and the materials and sort of the surface properties, right? So since we can generate this geometry internally, all we really need to do is export it to the right format so that products like Torch on Android, or products like Reality Composer by Apple, or Adobe's Aero for that matter, can ingest that and then do wonderful things with it. So what you saw is part of a tutorial about how easy it is for you to create, like, take your 2D logos, make 3D logos out of them, or make symbols out of them for that matter, so that you can use them in your AR productions. That's one part. The other part is we always thought, and I come from an artistic background, but also I've been running businesses for practically my whole career, right? So one of the things that I thought was very important is that, you might have, Edwin, for example, a customer that you've done a slew of 360 work for, right? More likely than not, this customer is going to be just as interested in AR and MR and XR as they were when 360 VR. So I figured it's great if Mettle empowered you to be able to step into AR and upsell that, right? So if you've got a library of 360 images, for example, which you do, right? And let's say you shot stuff for the Met, right? Let's say that's your customer. You can take that same footage, not footage for now, but stills for now, export it to a sphere and use that as part of an AR experience to tease a crowd. So as they're approaching the Met, you can actually have like a preview of what might be going on inside in one part of the museum. So you see, this is how we were trying to empower you with the AR offerings, is that you can take some of your 360 skills and the assets that you have and upsell your customers. But this is a wonderful upsell because it's cost effective. You've already got assets in play. You become a superhero to your clients. Wow,
that's pretty amazing. Right? I like the fact that you can create a sphere with a 360 image. I think that's really great for AR activations, where you can feel like you're in a different place, especially if you've taken lots of images. I think another thing, thinking of solutions for businesses, real estate right now is how do you sell a home without entering a home? There's lots of things like Matterport where you can do these 360 tours, but those images can also be turned into some kind of marketing activation in AR.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we don't support interactivity with our products in After Effects. There's many solutions out there that will do that. So you can create like links between spheres so that you can navigate from one room to the next, kind of like what Matterport does, but strictly in 360 VR. So it's not room scale, right? It's still a 3DOF experience, much like 360 VR was, but still there's value in that, right? It's a cheaper way to get to a walkthrough than going with a full-blown volumetric capture like Matterport or other solutions are. There's nothing wrong with room scale, but not everybody can afford it. That's the fundamental problem, right? So I've always found a little history of Mettle and myself. I come from content creation, Edwin. You and I met at NYVR, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I talked a lot about that, right?
Yeah.
So to stay in line with Mantra and get to that, I guess a great segue is I come from content creation, but I've always run my own shop with Nancy, my partner, right? And we come from the ad sector. So I guess there's business people and artists in both of us, and both have to be happy. Otherwise, the business will not continue. So long story short is that, for us, it's a natural to think on a business level and how we can upsell and facilitate. And as I say, make superheroes out of our clients, because Mettle started as a service business. It wasn't a product company. It became a product company in its evolution much, much later on. So, when we first started to sell the Skybox products that Adobe eventually bought, right? What we had done effectively, and it was sort of, I'm not a business plan guy, but I guess I do have a bit of a strategy as to how we approach things, right? I think that the key thing, if you're running your own business, is that you have to be very flexible and agile and be able to move very quickly, right? That's the key. So long story short on that is, when we started with Skybox, to me, the easiest way to infiltrate and start to build the business and empower certain sectors was to get involved with the ad sector, because that's where we come from. Okay. So the easiest thing for us, Edwin, was to make our way to places like New York, right? And talk to the ad community and say, hey, for branded content, 360 VR is amazing. So what ended up happening is we came to New York, met Bill Platt, who you know very well, right? Bill. Yeah, and DJ, who runs the Glimpse Group, but they're both
on my show as well.
Great guys, but great guys. So if y'all in New York have not gone to an NYVR, you need to do that. They're just amazing. So having met Bill, I started to get more into the broadcast and journalism crowd. So here we are. We've covered broadcast. Then we covered journalism very well through connections like Bill, et cetera, right? So these are two verticals that are extremely important for 360 VR.
That's what I focus on, journalism primarily.
Absolutely.
And go ahead.
So the next thing that I thought would be important, and this is why I kind of disappeared from the New York scene while we're still doing the Skybox stuff, right? We went over to Hollywood. We thought that it was very important, and we put a lot of effort into convincing studios and particular directors to get involved in 360 VR. So one of the feather in our cap, Edwin, for me in Hollywood, was when Chris Nolan did something in 360 VR.
Wow.
So that was phenomenal for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. What was the project?
So what was that war project? I forget it now. The war movie that he did. Crap. I'm sorry. Like, dude, my life is a blur.
No worries, no worries. I'm going to go to one more element, since you're talking about filmmaking, and that is these. You create these graphic effects like that are kind of like Inception, as well as and that's what we were seeing at the end of the other video, as well as was Inception and that Marvel movie Doctor Strange, kind of effects with the world using your plugins. And this is really high-end graphics stuff that anyone can just buy and play with and create.
Correct.
I'm going to show
Go ahead and show it, and this is exactly why we built Mantra.
Exactly. So I'm not sure if this is Mantra or not, but here's another cool effect that I just that I noticed on your website, and you could tell me what app it is.
Yep.
Hey guys, it's Charles Yeager with Mettle, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a reveal animation using shapes with Freeform Pro in After Effects. Let's go ahead and preview the effect. Before we start, you can download the free project file from this tutorial on Mettle's website. I'll have a link for that in the description. And you can always download a free trial of Freeform Pro from Mettle.com.
So Freeform Pro, that is another plugin, which you have several. And for people who don't know, Skybox, without Skybox, pretty much, you could not get a graphic that was flat, like this graphic right here. You couldn't get a flat graphic inside of an equirectangularly distorted 360 video. So for us, creating titles, creating animations, before Adobe bought all of your plugins and just incorporated them into Premiere Pro, we professional content creators with 360 video content creators had to buy Skybox. You couldn't work without it, period. There's no other option. It was the best, and that is so your plugins are just have helped me as a filmmaker from day one, and you're still going on and doing more creative.
Well, we are. So the Skybox stuff had very, very practical use cases. As you said, you want to bring in a graphic. You want to sort of take all your skills that you have in storytelling or in, in animation and bring them into this medium that's very complex to wrap your head around. Excuse the pun, but it was very complex.
Yeah.
So I think our claim to fame was we just made it easy. We just let you work the way you always work in After Effects and Premiere Pro, and it just so happened that you're delivering into 360 VR, right? Yeah. That was the real claim to fame. So to finish the story and how it led to Mantra was we touched on broadcast, we touched on the advertising, we went to Hollywood, did lots of great damage there, right? So we got a lot of people coming into the fore and just building up and creating a bigger and bigger community out of it. So the next thing I wanted to tackle with Nancy was the music industry. Because the music industry, it suffered, to say the least, right? So the budgets are not what they used to be. So Mantra was sort of the brainchild of a very pragmatic use case that I'll talk about in a second. But it also that pragmatic use case, believe it or not, was spawned a hell of a lot of stylization. So this is what the music industry loves. If you can shoot 360 VR and stylize it and make it look like this Inception stuff, or make it look like really groovy and I don't know, Zen-like, and just highly stylized, music industry loves that. So with a very, very affordable plugin, you can put in like incredible amounts of post-production value into a 360 VR and make it just a little more interesting, basically, than just sticking a camera in the middle of a venue, basically, right?
Exactly. And that is one of the things that, as 360 filmmakers, how do you add movement, which I'm going to bring up in a second. How do you add movement to a 360 video? Well, I had to work on a robot.
That was the big use case, by the way. That was the birth of Mantra, and I'll try to explain in as simple terms as I possibly can. Actually, if you want to show the clip, and then
I'll show the clip right now, and we can talk about it. So that's a little gem that just kind of completely blew my mind, that you can take a content that 90% of my content, I literally put a camera onto a stage, run to hide behind a tree, hit start, and then hope for the best, then go home and see what I get. Tons of my content is like that, but to create a dolly move, which you couldn't really see because there's an equirectangular distortion in that video that I just showed. But you're creating a dolly move inside of a still shot 360 video.
Or footage, right? So that was the use case basically. So it actually came up while we were in Hollywood, and somebody was saying, hey, we'd really love to be able to move inside a shot that they had already in the can basically, and they couldn't go back and revisit. So I'm sort of scratching my head because that in conventional filming or shooting, we have a screen, right? So it's easy enough, especially if you oversample. Say you're shooting like 8K and you're only broadcasting at 4K, you got tons of information that you can actually cheat and create some kind of a dolly move because the whole thing just scales, basically, right? And then you create some parallax effect near the edges and it sells itself well enough. So this effect is what people were trying to do in post with 360 images that had a camera lock.
I tried that. You can't. It's all weird in the back.
Right. So, I'm thinking you can't really scale in 360 because there's nowhere to hide. There's no screen. This information has to be repackaged somehow behind you and make sense, right? So the notion was, if I scale in front, that means I need to scale down behind me. And it all has to make sense somehow. That was the algorithm, basically. So the math that came that helped that along. We have an incredible engineering group, and they're part of the Metal Labs thing that you and I spoke about earlier. So the math that helped facilitate that is Mobius math, basically. Now, when you open up that can of worms, dude, that's like a Pandora's box. Okay, so you tap into that math and you get all the stylization that you see in Mantra as well. Wow. So there's a very pragmatic and practical use case that spawned this whole product. But as soon as we opened up that Pandora's box, it was unbelievable. So we can just continue probably for the rest of my career and keep iterating on this math. It's incredible. It's just phenomenal.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And I was going to ask too, like, what coding languages do you use to even create a plugin for
Sure.
I didn't even. I'm just curious. I'm a developer as well.
C++ is the go-to, right? And then being very comfortable in all the GPU languages. I think that's one of the reasons we did very well in the Adobe ecosystem, is that we understood the whole technical infrastructure and which GPU languages and how to move and navigate them, basically. So, I spent time at Adobe as director of immersive after the acquisition, and a big part of what I needed to do was, of course, help with the immersive efforts, but at the same time do a tech transfer. Now, I have to say that this was the easiest tech transfer I've ever seen because we had already done all the work even before the acquisition. So these plugins were as native to After Effects as you can possibly get. So the tech transfer went by very, very smoothly.
You just changed the names and the titles, and it would be
not quite. I wish it was that easy.
I'm not saying that. But that's on my side what I noticed, and then I was like,
well, that's what we were shooting for before the acquisition. Well, I mean, we didn't know that Adobe was going to acquire us. You sort of dream, right? And then there's lots of dreams out there, but from a user standpoint, it was really, really important to me that we don't introduce anything new to you unless there's a very compelling reason. Then you will take the time to learn it, and you will probably thank that developer because it just brings you to another level, right?
Speaking of new features, I want to show one last thing before our time ends, and so we could talk a little bit about this one.
Mantra VR is a comprehensive set of stylization effects designed to take your cinematic 360 VR production to the next level. The effects are built to work on spherical footage in After Effects and Premiere Pro, and they were created by the same developers at Metal who created the Skybox 360 VR plugin. Mantra 2.0 introduces easy-to-use...
So that's the same one, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's the same clip. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Let me just... I'm trying to find...
Hey guys, it's Charles Yeager with Metal.
I think I didn't upload it, but you had something about Facebook integration in your site. I thought I uploaded it. I guess I didn't.
Oh, so
a little bit about
you might be thinking of the six stuff work that we did in conjunction with Facebook a while back.
Yes.
Right. So the idea there was the beginnings of room scale in 360. So if you had stereo footage, what we were doing is we were sort of taking the stereo pairs, right? Because stereo works, it doesn't shoot perfectly straight. It sort of offsets a bit. Right? So what that allows you to do is it allows you to triangulate and guess depth because of that. Right? So if I've got slightly different angles, that means I can actually form a triangle.
Parallax.
Correct. So the idea was we took stereo pairs and we created depth data, and we put this a slew of plugins together with Facebook. We worked very closely with them, and that was acquired by Adobe as well. So that's sitting somewhere in the code base, and I don't know what they're going to do with it after all of that.
Oh, I see. Wow, that is.
But the idea is that now you can remember, like with 3DOF, it was like you couldn't really move left and right. It's a 3DOF experience. It's not 6DOF, right? Nor could you move up and down and see like slightly atop of your head or to the side of your face or come in closer and go back, because it's not room scale, right? It's not fully volumetric. These were like baby steps towards that. So I can actually turn like this and see the side of your face because of that, because we were creating depth information that can draw the sides and draw a little bit on top and a little bit on beneath you, basically. And that can move in and move out slightly. So, ultimately, the way I would explain it to people is the real benefit was in things like rack focus, because now I've got depth information, right? So I can shoot super clean, super sharp everywhere. But now because I've got depth, I can blur out your background.
Kind of like a LiDAR cameras do. Where you could decide what you want to focus on.
Exactly. And then there's a whole other bunch of effects that we did. But I think the most important thing for me was it made the whole experience even more comfortable, because now, as we never stand still as human beings, right? Yeah. So even if you're moving just a bit while you're experiencing this 360 stuff, people would still get nauseous because of that, because it didn't quite click and synchronize. With this technology, it was super comfortable. Super comfortable.
And so that's gonna. Well, we don't know where that's gonna end up. But
again, I'm no longer with Adobe, but that code base is there as well. Yeah.
Okay.
The rest of the stuff that you see on Metal, so Adobe didn't buy everything. They bought Skybox, and they bought those what we called Volumetrics at the time. The stuff that we did with Facebook, but everything else stayed with Metal with us.
Okay, and I'm glad you're still developing these technologies and these techniques. It's all super amazing stuff. And whoa, okay, we have actually some comments. Let's see. I will bring up a comment here.
Oh, Alex. Yes. Hi, Alex.
So Alex is asking a question. I'm not really sure what he's asking.
I think he's making a statement. He says we call it 3DOF and our faux 6DOF. Yeah.
Right. So that's a joke. All right. You got it. So right now, if anyone wants to find out more about all of this stuff that we're talking about, all the tutorials that I showed today, and all of these amazing plugins are on the website at mettle.com. I really appreciate you and your time. And then lastly, again, I want to start a thing where at the end of the show where I try to find moments for good. And today's moment of good, we alluded to in the beginning of the show, is going to be Frontline Friday. So I will end with that. And again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, thank you for watching and being here.
Thank you, Edwin. Thanks, everybody.
I'm so glad, so happy.
Hear he, hear he. Do 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 do.
Hey y'all, Mad Russian here, and I just wanted to tell you about my latest project called Frontline Fridays.
Ooh, what's Frontline Fridays?
Frontline Fridays is your Friday night carnival pump. It's that simple, your Friday night carnival pump.
But wait, there's more.
We're also pumping for a great cause. Frontline Fridays will be accepting donations to source food from local Caribbean restaurants for our courageous frontline workers.
So what you really saying, Russian?
I'm saying you're supporting local Caribbean businesses, you're supporting your frontline workers, and all of that is happening while you're fetting in your house. So remember, we're kicking it off this Friday, May 1st at 6 p.m. on my Instagram, powered by Firebrand Entertainment and Feckless. Bang, bang.
I almost forgot. Go check out our website, frontlinefridays.live. All the information is there. If you have any questions, go, 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 go.